Hello, good afternoon, 4th of November 2020. Bangladesh to embark. Yes, we have a huge opportunities now in the shipping community for seafarers. One seafarer bringing $20,000 per year to Bangladesh. It means that we are having indirect collateral wealth to Bangladesh of 10 more jobs. When Nissan factory closed in was going to close, sorry, in Barcelona because COVID, they say, this is a lie. This is because tax and inefficient public system, inefficient human resources, labor relationships, inefficient associations, inefficient statutes, inefficient everything. And so it is five institutions that comprise the unemployment, the training for seafarers, and then we have the whole situation is that it is inefficiency, inefficiency, inefficiency. In Bangladesh, we have one country. We can improve this because we have a young population. Unemployment is very high, so we can employ seafarers. One seafarer brings $20,000 average to Bangladesh or officer as mean a statistical number. Therefore, we can then assume that if one job in Nissan factory Barcelona eliminated 10 jobs, then indirect between suppliers and so on, then if we turn these coronavirus positive ideas, then we know that one seafarer brings $20,000, but in reality, to the economy, to your local house, to your family, to your area of competence, this money is multiplied by 11 because then one job generates elimination of 10 indirect, like in Nissan factory. Then if we change and we go positive, because we, the maritime community, we always go positive. We always go back, return. We are going to, it's like tides. It's a positive tide. And so ship owners generate this positive light of business, utility, wealth, intrinsic value to Bangladesh. It is one job 20,000, indirect 200,000 because it's times 10. So total is $220,000 generated by one hero seafarer and officer per year. So simple. Yes, no one is watching this simple mathematical utility, intrinsic value, wealth compounded. And so I'm trying to explain to Bangladesh that there's other countries like in Spain that they pay 3 million people not to work, and they lose the opportunity cost of 3 million people working at sea multiplied by $220,000, and this is perfectly legal in some countries. And that is why if Bangladesh looks to the horizon, to the light, and then the light looks to Bangladesh, so we can invest in Bangladesh. How? Then seafarers today and officers can update the Candina database. Now, why is it so important that this intrinsic value investment it is strategical for Bangladesh? Because now other countries like, for example, Latvia, they have improved in the training, basic training, 4 days, 400 euros. So it's very simple. We can go into the cruise industry and train a big amount of seafarers. And then also English. It is a great advantage for Bangladesh to have this English language as a standard for the safety on board ships. Is safety is first, therefore the English is a must. There is a huge opportunities we are taking over. We need electricians, we need chief engineers in the engine department, we need pumpmen, we need offshore crew, we need all kinds of crew. And this is long-term intrinsic value. Like, for example, the Captain Antonio Candina here with 14 years old in a pharmacy. He was orphan of father, and then he was put as a boy in this pharmacy, and he generated four generations of wealth. Imagine one hero seafarer and officer, $220,000 per year, direct plus 10 indirect. Now, wealth generated in the area of competence in this seafarer and officer. Imagine then for 125 years. Imagine how important it is for Bangladesh to essential strategic business intrinsic value worth generation of my community, your community, then interest into training of seafarers, interest into the medical examinations, drug and alcohol, the PCR test, the COVID test. There is different grant systems I explained in three other books I wrote about this corporate social responsibility. How can we introduce youngsters to the maritime business, like having say grants for the jobs as trainees, and then unite them with grants of the government if they are, for example, 8 months on board and 4 months ashore. Perhaps the government can subsidize, can give them a grant so that if they have been generating income to Bangladesh for 8 months, and why not these heroes have 4 months, $1,000, because the income they are providing, I explained, it is times 11. So it is really an investment for any government to help these heroes start a career. Second, in this very good system that there is in Bangladesh is for ratings to go to officers, because it's not possible to have officers at 22 years old starting to say no. Either officers start as their rating and then they start even younger at 17, 18 years old to feel the sea. Like I felt the sea with my late father when at 6 years old I used to be around ship owners from Norway, from America. So I really, since a very little kid, I really was around. I know that it was for you, perhaps not so, important, so motivational. But today, for me, when things get tough and when the business perhaps is not so good, and then we have this coronavirus or the dollar, the euro, whatever, then and companies could go bankrupt and so on. When it gets very, very hard, then sometimes you can throw the towel. But if you have felt this like really deep from your childhood and seen it through generations like he did, and if you are put to the test of long-term intrinsic of knowing that my late mother, my late father, my late grandpa, grandma, the great great grandpa, the great great grandma, they all lived through this maritime service community for ship owners, being ship owner in the maritime business. Then Bangladesh can really improve very much in this long-term stability, because only when you're put to the test you really get the best for the Bangladesh communities. I can uh, give this example after 4 generations, and I hope that this like, subscribe, and the applications of Bangladesh. Now we are in need of huge amounts of electricians and the engine department for chemical offshore and these tankers and rope access. This is for today. Also, we have bulk carriers and containers in the South Pacific, North Pacific, and Candina Group today is working about is growing. Sorry, about 100%. But this main video is to try to share the utility value of digital means that the potential Bangladesh has to look at the horizon of this light, this maritime community, and invest. For example, Estonia has done a great job. They have declared tax-free for seafarers, also for the flag. Singapore is putting these trainees, maritime port authorities. We have seen how also Singapore and Manila, Filipinas, they have put this special accommodation for these joining and disembarking seafarers. This is heroes. And so there is a huge improvement in the maritime community because for us it's nothing new. We are like safety is first, zero risk. So we already were at 100% key performance indicator, and now it's a great opportunity to Bangladesh to invest in the human resources because we need digital CVs now and also invest in the area of competence. For example, the maritime schools, the medical examinations, sanitary assistance clinics, special agreements for the families of the hero seafarers, hero officers that will have cover whilst seafarers are at sea, and officers then also have cover of sanitary assistance for the families. And we have made special schemes. For example, I made many years ago a scheme for having in Honduras the families having some 5 visits to the doctor and a couple of surgical operations whilst seafarers were at home. And it was so successful that not so many people used it. So it's better to have a great preventive health system for the families of seafarers, which is never used because that really proves that it is really excellent. Well, I touch wood, this will be like this. And I hope that in Bangladesh they invest in watching these videos, like and subscribe. In the applications of seafarers online, we mostly deal just digital. It's a great advantage that all the seafarers in Bangladesh really invest in themselves and they look after their own career and their people because these are heroes that generate 10 times more intrinsic value or worth than any other profession. And I hope that the government of Bangladesh will, and the police and the immigration and the embassies and the airports and the taxi drivers and the maritime schools and the certificates and the verification of the documentation, which is very important to be number one nationality. So I hope that all the areas of interest of the maritime seafarers community help, and so that we can help our ship owners that are really heroes. And one of the other areas that some countries are not working so well is the tax for the shore companies. Maritime shore companies in Bangladesh must have a reduced tax rate so that we can employ and perhaps set our payroll, contract selection, enlistment, rostering, all kinds of quality, environment, and health departments instead of here in Spain or in Latvia or somewhere else because the tax is 100%. And we are going to avoid these taxes, yes, because it is coronavirus. We are making very good calculations and we would like you in Bangladesh to invest in this maritime strategic essential system because if Bangladesh looks to the horizon like he did with the pharmacy and the remedies, 14-year-old, I want to be a maritime officer, he wrote, and then he was writing remedies, sorry, for these recipes in the pharmacy, and so then if he was looking or she to the horizon looks to Bangladesh. And this is very, very important. Never, ever forget, invest in your digital means, copy-paste what other countries are doing. There is a huge opportunities because, for example, in Filipinas, 20% of the money must be sent to Filipinas. In other countries, we are starting to make transfers via Bitcoin. This is a huge advantage. In some African countries, they require $250 for the transfer cost of the currency. In other countries, the banks are so complicated. So also the bank side, in the insurance side, in the maritime training side, in the pools, in the motivation, and so also there are huge advantages that we are negotiating now in other areas. And thank you very much indeed for your time. Goodbye.